Hello, this is Darren.
And this is Paige.
And this is
Where's the Lemonade?
Where we talk about what happens when life throws you lemons.
Make some lemonade?
Maybe. Some weeks it's lemon squares.
Yeah, some weeks it's just lemons.
Yeah.
On today's episode,
We're going to talk about finding lemonade in blended families.
only the lemonade.
Only the lemonade.
That's right.
Okay, after some time of podcasting about blended families and the things we go through, my honey decided we are putting on the rose-colored glasses and we're talking Pollyanna, and we're only talking about the lemonade and lemon squares from blended families.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a lot of episodes. Most of our episodes from our podcast, we talk about the trials and tribulations and challenges of blending a family. And I want people to know we are not in any way saying, hey, go get divorced and get remarried so you can enjoy all these benefits. No.
It's going to sound like that, though, today.
No, but we want to talk about there are a lot of blessings and positive things that come out of a blended family. So we want to be positive today.
All right, so we're going to talk about only those great things that we get from having a blended family.
Yes. So if you want to hear about all the challenges of a blended family, listen to the other 64 episodes that we have, but not today's. Today is Pollyanna, right?
So let's start with the kids. The kids, I think, get the most lemonade out of this whole thing. But, in fact, we asked our kids and they did give us some ideas. The number one idea that came back from our kids was more Christmas presents.
Yes, they get, well, not just Christmas presents. They get 2 Christmases, like 2 full-on Christmases, which they actually said is a blessing and a curse. They said it's exhausting.
I got to open presents all day long.
Right?
I don't understand.
And they have to eat the whole Christmas thing over. Like it's a thing, right? Like we're tired after we get up and open presents and have this big breakfast. And then they have to do a Groundhog Day. They have to start it all over again.
They have to start all over
at the next house.
Yeah, we transition at noon on Christmas Day. So
yeah,
they have Christmas from whenever they wake up till noon, and then again at the other house from noon until whenever they get
it's
done.
exhausting. But they get 2 full-on Christmases. They get a gazillion presents.
All right, so that's one benefit for them. Also, birthdays is the same thing.
Birthdays, yep. They get 2 full-on birthdays.
No.
And 2 birthday dinners and 2 birthday cakes. And
yeah, but we did settle, though, that they only get 1 birthday party with friends a year.
Yes. Both houses do not do parties.
Yeah, but you also have, 2 holidays. Think of all the other holidays where you get things. Easter, or you have some kind of celebration.
Yes.
Easter. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Right.
Right. St. Patrick's Day, because we're always.
Yeah. Oh, we give so many presents for that.
Valentine's Day. You get presents for Valentine's Day, don't you?
At least a little chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things around celebrations. And like Paige said, maybe sometimes it gets a little tiring, but
we're not talking about that because this is a positive episode.
Oh, no, positive episode, positive. Okay, the other thing you get more grandparents for kids.
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a positive.
Absolutely, that's
right?
a positive, right?
More grandparents to love on you.
Yeah,
and praise on you, right? Grandparents just think all of their grandkids are amazing, and so yeah.
Sometimes grandparents give advice, which could be good, right?
Yeah. They have a lot of knowledge to.
They do. That's what all their white hair is from.
That's right.
Is from raising your parents.
Well, not everybody will have white hair. There's this thing called dye that will be going on for me for a very long time.
Oh,
obviously, look, if you're watching our video, I actually need a dye job really bad right now.
So. Okay, check out our video on YouTube at Where's the Lemonade channel.
You need a dye job too. Your roots are really starting to show.
My roots are showing through. My beautiful blonde hair. My blonde roots are showing through the gray.
I don't think they've shown through in quite some time.
No, probably not. The other thing that you get, and this one's a little difficult sometimes, is what we call bonus parents, step parents.
Step parents. Yep.
I'm lucky in that my kids have a great stepdad.
Hmm.
He's great to them. He loves them. He shows them and does things with them that I don't do with them. Um, because he's good at things that I'm not good at, and I'm good
Yeah.
at things that he's not good at. It. So for my kids, I think it's a bonus. They get to have two father figures in their life, which I
Right.
think is great.
It is. And I mean, yeah, if you can be mature enough to be able to see that the step parent in your kid's life can offer them things that you maybe can't, and it's a positive thing. It's great if you can. It's not You're not able to usually do that in the beginning
No, it's hard at the beginning.
when your ex might remarry. You might feel jealousy and all other kind of things. But as time goes by, if you can really try to just be grateful that your kids are getting another perspective. And yeah, like you said, they're doing things with them that maybe you wouldn't do or can't do or don't want to do,
Like
right?
camping.
Like camping. Oh, thank goodness that, yeah,
Thank
your
goodness for their
kids,
stepdad.
thank goodness for that.
He
'Cause,
enjoys camping. I do not.
yep, there's no competition going on there. We're like,
No.
nope.
Well, and the kids see competition. They don't. I mean, it's hard for them when they see that. So it's best to elaborate on the positives that they get out of this, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Like if you hear that the kids, say mom and stepdad have taken them camping and you hate camping, you don't have to feel like you have to take them camping. You don't have to win that competition. Just let it be.
well, in fact, you should even ask them about the camping trip and make it
Absolutely.
fun for them as
And
well.
yeah. So yes, I think their bonus parents bring them new perspectives and
A
new,
new view on.
yes, and can be their really good friend or like a really good aunt or uncle. So that can be a really big positive.
It can be. Now, another thing that you mentioned, a new or broader worldview. Think of all the aunts and uncles now that they have,
Yep.
and not just grandparents, but other people that are going to influence their lives in some way, shape, or
Right.
form. And, that helps them become more, see things from several different perspectives instead of just.
Absolutely. One of our children responded to us when we asked them what is a positive and said that it helps them because they've had to form new relationships with so many new people, right?
They were kind of forced into it.
Yeah, forced into it. But now they feel like they're really good at making friends and adapting and, to new situations.
Well, yeah, and they did some research on this, and kids tend to become more flexible and be able to handle conflict resolution much easier after some time in a blended family because there are multiple households. There are lots of people in their lives now.
Right.
So it tends to help them become more flexible and in the way that
And
they.
didn't it also say in that same article, didn't it say that it helps them be more forgiving?
Well, yeah, it says here kids typically score higher on emotional skills like forgiveness, generosity, negotiation, because you've got to learn to negotiate
Yep. Yep.
when you're a kid in a blended family
Yeah.
because there's a lot of attention going all over the place,
Yep.
and so you got to figure that one out.
Yep. Yeah. So another thing that is a positive is we're going to look at it as positive today because this is our Pollyanna episode. The kids get more siblings.
Yeah, more time to have more friends. I think of Sam and David primarily. Every time we have a transition day, which is every Wednesday, Sam and David spend 2, 3, 4 hours talking.
Yeah.
It's
They
like they
do.
were long lost friends that hadn't
Yep.
seen each other for a long time. And I think Sam really appreciates that because 50% of the time, Sam is here alone with us.
Right. Yep. And then 50% of the time he's with the other kids. So he kind of he feels like he has the best of both worlds because half the time he's an only child. So all of our attention is on him. But then he starts to get a little bored with us and it gets to be a little lonely.
I don't think we're that boring.
We're pretty boring.
I guess to a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
He's 15 now.
He's 15 now. I
I
know.
know. He's getting old.
So yeah, I mean, not all of our children in the beginning were excited about their new siblings.
No, not at
But
all.
we're not talking about that
No,
today.
we're not.
We're talking about how they are excited about their siblings.
And some of our siblings, some of our kids, the relationships they have with their step siblings are pretty strong.
Yeah.
I've been kind of surprised at how strong they can
Yep.
get.
Yeah, I love it. And maybe one of the reasons is because they didn't grow up together. That it's almost like it's a friendship that they have formed instead of,
Despite us.
yeah, right? Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the lemonade for parents in a blended family.
Yes.
And there are some. There's quite a few that we read about in comparing to like a single parent home to a blended family home.
Right.
There's a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
But let's go all the way back to the beginning. Like, hey, now there's a lot more kids, but there's also times where we don't have any kids.
Yeah, so it is easier for us to go on a trip, right? So like if you're in a nuclear family that hasn't been divorced and the parents go on a trip, you have to find someone to watch the kids.
Yeah, for a week or a weekend
Yeah.
or something. Now they go over to their mom's house.
They go over to the other house. So
Or-
it's much easier to go on a trip because, they just go over to their other parents' house.
And sometimes, even though we have Sam 100% of the time, sometimes he goes off and visits his dad,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get some alone time. That's happened
Yeah.
a handful of times for us. And it's kind of almost like preparing us for retirement when there are no kids and I have no work.
Yeah.
And we survived it, which is amazing.
Yeah, we had a couple of days alone during the Christmas break where your kids were at their mom's and Sam went and visited his dad. And yeah, I mean, when does that ever happen in a
And
traditional family?
it doesn't.
So you can look at that as a blessing.
Yeah, that's somewhat of a blessing.
Yeah.
Another thing, we talked about this a little bit from the kid's perspective, but from a parent's perspective, it's sometimes nice to have a step parent kind of fill in the gap of areas that maybe you're not good at.
Yes, and as I mentioned already, if you're mature enough to be able to see that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, for example, my kid's stepdad, he's a captain. He's got his captain's license for sailing. So he can take the kids out sailing out on the ocean, something I could never do.
Right.
For a couple of reasons. I get seasick and I don't have a captain's license. I
Right.
don't
Or a
think I'll-
boat.
or a boat, so I don't think I'll ever get one. But playing off of my kid's stepdad's strengths is great for my kids.
Right.
Right?
You just said it. It's great for your kids. And so if we can be
Well, that means it's good for me
right.
because my kids are learning something that I can't teach them.
Right.
And they learn from me too.
Right, of
Right?
course.
But now they have so much more that they can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully, like I said, it doesn't come easily to be able to look at things like that because at first you might be jealous and trying to compete, but hopefully after some time you can really appreciate the step parent in your kid's life
Yeah, absolutely.
and what they can bring to their lives.
Now, another thing is as you add kids to your family, it kind of disrupts the apple cart quite a bit.
Of course. Yes.
But it brings new perspectives and talents into your family,
Yeah.
which was really, really interesting and cool.
Yeah, it is really cool when all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, now we've got a cello player in the family, or now we've got someone that knows how to play the violin. And
Yeah, we have almost a full orchestra now in our family.
we do. And people that we've got, people that play sports and people that play music. And I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a good mix. We had Jake doing parkour all over the house when we first got
Yes, I
married.
was, pull my hair out.
Yeah, that you were very excited about that when he was like climbing up the wall.
Yeah,
You've never had a kid do that before.
No, I've never had a kid try and put holes in the wall. But thank you, Jake. That was lovely. I appreciate that. Just different perspectives on where they've come from and the way our kids were raised were very similar, but there were some slight differences that we worked through. And I think it turned out better in the end
Yeah.
because we kind of blended the two. We took the best of both.
Yes. Once again, that's difficult in the beginning to mesh the two things, but we're not talking about how hard that is.
No, we're not.
But I just want people to know that it doesn't just start off la 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 la. No,
It doesn't. I thought that's what we were talking about today.
Well, today we're talking about how you eventually can talk about all these wonderful things. Yes.
Now, one of the things that we talked about is
Mm-hmm.
we think we can be more real in our relationship now than in our previous relationships because we kind of learned from the mistakes we made in our previous marriage.
Yeah. And so when we start having an argument, disagreement, I think we catch ourselves a lot of times and go,
Is this really worth it?
yeah, let's not go there. I mean, of course we still have arguments and disagreements, but I think a lot of the time we catch ourselves and just go, you know what? Let's not do this. Let's communicate better.
Yeah, I think that has a lot. And you know what? We've understand our old baggage and we've kind of set that aside. Maybe it's the years of marriage counseling we took too.
Maybe. And you know what? We also, I think we're getting better at recognizing triggers and we can
Yes.
talk about it quicker. Like when we have an argument, a lot of times now we'll go, you know what? That was a trigger for me. And
Yeah,
then
we just had something like that.
we did. And then we were able to talk about it and it it just opened up the conversation completely and the
So
argument kind of melted
the
away.
argument melts away. And
Yeah.
instead, we talked about the trigger and how we can avoid the
Right.
trigger and
the other
why you
person's
feel that
completely
way.
understanding about the trigger. It's like, oh, that's
So
why you were so upset.
that's something we learned
Yep.
because of the failures that we made in our previous
Yeah.
marriages.
Yeah. So that is a positive that I feel like we can kind of get through the muck a little easier because of
Yeah.
our experience.
Now, you put on here financial stability. It did not
So
feel like financial stability at the beginning.
no, but what I meant by that is single parents, right? So like me as a single parent, I was struggling. I was struggling really, really, really badly. And even though you and I were still struggling financially when we got married, it was not the same struggle
That you
at
were
all
having.
that I was having.
So sometimes financial stability can come about from blending families.
Yes.
Sometimes it's two incomes coming together
Right.
under one household.
Right. So I came at that out of you as a single parent that's having a hard time when you're now putting two incomes together.
Now you can, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So that's where that was coming from.
For me, it was a little different, right? Because now I added more kids and more responsibility,
Right.
but I can see the financial stability there.
Right.
You know what? We've also found our kids can be, or they might be more honest with you, a little bit more open on what's going on in their lives and how bad you are as a parent sometimes,
Yeah. We
or advice on how to do a better job as a
Yes.
parent.
We occasionally get our kids to open up, and you got to be careful. You might get what you wish for if you ask your kids to
You have to
open
be
up.
prepared to listen
They might just tell you something that just goes a gut
right
punch,
to your heart.
and you're
Yep.
just like, whoo. But I think usually you can take that and go, you know what? This is something we can work on, and I'm glad you were honest with me. But yeah, I think our kids have more than maybe they would have been previously. We've had some pretty honest discussion with them.
Yeah, we have, which is good,
Yeah.
right? Because that only helps us become better parents.
That's right.
One thing that I thought was interesting, we talked about loving your bio kids and how that's different than loving your stepkids.
Yeah.
With your bio kids, it's almost like an instinct,
Right.
right?
Yeah. The second they're born,
The second they're born, you
you're,
love them.
you're in love
right?
with them. Yes. It's like it's done.
So you've learned, and I've learned how to love our stepkids, which was not an instinct at first.
No.
You have
it's
to
not.
actually open your heart up and say, okay, these are my kids as well. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. It teaches you how to extend that part of your heart.
I thought that was going to be really, really hard for me because I'm not one of those people that like look at other people's kids and are like, oh, those kids are so cute. I love all kids.
You said that about dogs too, but now you love dogs.
It's true. I've changed a lot. But yeah, I mean, I never babysat when I was a teenager because I didn't like kids. And I was kind of worried when I was pregnant with my first child. I was like, am I going to like this kid? Because I don't really like kids. And, like I said, it's an instinctual thing. As soon as she was born, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm in love. And so I was worried because I'm just not one of those people that's like, I love all kids. But when I do love, like I have dear friends that I love their kids. When I do, cross that that boundary into, okay, you're not annoying me, I love you, I fall pretty hard. And so, yeah, I mean, I thought it would be harder than it was for me to love your kids. It was pretty quick.
Yeah, it was. And they, you know what? They needed that love,
Yeah.
which was great for all of us.
Yeah, because when
Right.
you're coming out of a divorced situation, kids need to feel
They need to
this.
feel some security and some
Yep.
comfort and some love. So
Yep, they do. They need
that's
to feel
awesome.
that.
Another thing that we get from blending our families, and just if we push kids out for a second, is now you have some new in-laws. I have new in-laws,
Yep.
both parents and also sibling in-laws.
Right.
So that brings a whole new perspective, especially because when you and I got married, all of my siblings were already married and had families and all of that. So all those years that I spent with my first wife and them growing up with my family growing up and
Right.
their families,
Yep.
right, is now gone. And now you're interjected in.
It's awkward.
It's awkward at first, but it gave a completely different worldview of things.
Yeah.
From my perspective, getting to know your family,
Right.
and then you getting to know my
Yeah.
family.
Once again, another perspective, another changes your worldview. I mean, it's if you look at it the right way, right, then it is just opening you up to,
No,
you know,
I learned a lot. I've
Yeah.
learned a lot from that.
right. Instead of going in with a negative attitude of, I don't need any more people in my life. I don't need any more
I can't be
personalities
taught anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're
And
open,
we don't have any strong personalities in our families at all.
no, nope, nope, all a bunch of little micey people
Yeah.
sitting around. All right, so now we want to talk about this whole episode has been about lemonade of blended families, right?
But you have to learn how to make the lemonade.
How because it does not start off from day one being lemonade. Ooh, no, it's a bunch of lemons.
And you can't just pour sugar on the lemons.
No, you can, and you will, and you do, but it don't work, people.
It doesn't work.
So, I already mentioned this, not all of our kids were excited about our transition to a blended family.
No, not at all.
Some were hesitant, some were excited, some were, I don't want this at all. Like we had every emotion with kids.
Yeah, we did.
And now I would say the consensus is
it's more than consensus.
Yeah, they're all glad to be part of this family and this blended family. And almost can't imagine their lives being any different now. Like this is their life and this is their family, and it's hard to even remember before that.
Yeah, I think a lot of them feel that way.
But it didn't just happen overnight.
No, it did not. It included us making a concerted effort without forcing them.
Even though sometimes it was forced.
Oh,
it was like,
sometimes
you will go with us to do this activity.
Yes.
Right? We did do
Yes,
that a
that's
few
right.
times.
We
Like,
did it a
hey,
few
we're going to go
times.
do this. I don't want to. Well, you're coming anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's also modeling and showing them the benefits of it as well, and how we all support each other. And then our adult children that are out of the house, they're still really close.
They are. And it's all about, it all boils down to your attitude.
Yeah. And
Because some of our older kids changed their attitude and went, this is my new family. This is our new life. I can either just fight it and be miserable, or I can say, I'm going to open up and try and love this. And that's what they did. They made a conscious effort to accept this new family.
but it required effort.
It did require effort on their part, on our part. And yeah.
Yeah. And this goes into when you're in the situation of blending families, or even if you're not blending families, you have to take the approach of finding the lemonade
Yes.
in the moment, which people say, oh, you're just saying put rose colored glasses on. No, I'm not.
No.
Because lemonade requires some effort. You got to squeeze the lemons,
Yep.
but you have to see what the end goal is in sight.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the number one thing. You have to make a conscious effort of saying, I want lemonade or lemon squares at the end of this thing.
Right.
And
that's not going to happen to a lot of, like, I mean, one of our most resistant people in our family was Jake.
yeah,
He was 16. He did not want the blended family. He did not want a new stepdad. He didn't.
no,
And
he didn't.
He was very resistant. He was never rude or disrespectful, but he was not. He would just stayed closed off. And it wasn't until he left. So I don't want you guys to think that this all happened in 6 months or even a year. It was years.
Yeah.
He had to leave the house, be on his own, mature, and then he started making an effort. So sometimes it won't happen for a while.
No,
But
sometimes it
be
won't.
patient.
But be patient, be flexible,
Yep.
always invite,
Yep. Always invite.
right? I mean, we have another son who we invite and he comes and he feels a part of the family, but he's not as tight knit as everybody else. But we
No.
still invite and he
Mhm.
still comes when he feels comfortable,
Right.
which to me, that's great. That's where you want to be.
Right.
So that flexibility has to be in there too, and that
Yes.
effort.
Yep.
The younger they are and when their house, there isn't as much flexibility.
Right. No, there's not. It's
'Cause-
like, this is the co-parenting arrangement and this is what's happening. So, yeah. So, yeah, just be flexible, be understanding, know when to push and when to back
That's
off.
the hardest part.
That
right
is
there.
so hard. That's so hard because sometimes you can push and you need to, and other times you need to back off.
Well, and that's where you and your spouse have to really talk through things and work
Yeah.
things out.
You really got to be.
Okay, the lemonade moment of the week is I'm getting old. That's what it is.
Yep.
So I had another birthday.
Just you, not me.
Just me.
Yeah.
You can tell by my beautiful white hair.
Yes, just your.
So I had another birthday and we were going to go out and do something, but because of COVID, we can't even go to a restaurant.
We can't go to a restaurant. We can't even eat outside of a restaurant.
No, not in our area. But we found out that the drive-in was open.
Drive-in is open.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. So that's what we did for your birthday. We went and we picked up pizza.
Just you and I, no
Yep.
kids.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's the only way to go to a drive-in.
Yeah. Duh. We went and picked up pizza, went to the drive-in, and we saw a good movie, and it was fun.
Yeah, News of the World. It was a good movie.
It was a good movie. And yeah, we had a really good time. And it was really the only thing we could do.
So there you go. There's our lemonade moment of the week. We got to see a movie.
That's right. If you like today's episode,
Give us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, Google,
and head to Facebook and like us,
and check out our blog at where'sthelemonade.org.
where you can leave questions and comments.
But most of all,
Go out and make some lemonade.
you betcha, baby.